Vedett Extra Blond.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. That sun is well and truly over the yard arm, so I'm going to crack this open. This is a Belgian beer called Vedett, and it's what they've called or termed as Extra Blond. From what I can gather, this is a Pilsner, and it's part of Vedett is part of the Duvel Moortgat brewing company based in Belgium. Now, of course, Duvel famous for the Duvel triple and their hopped triple as well. Both quite nice, both reviewed on the channel, both got quite high marks. This stuff is like a subsidiary, if you like, and what they've done is they've brewed a range of beers like IPAs, wheat beers, and they've also produced this. They've got a blonde and they've got an extra blonde. The extra blonde, I'm pretty sure, is a Pilsner. I'll find that out when I open it though. But judging from the ingredients, it does come across as a Pilsner. A quick word about the brewery. As I said, they're part of the Duvel Moortgat Brewing Corporation, based in a suburb of Antwerp. But what the Moortgat bloke, what was his name? Albert Moortgat. He, in 1945, produced the range, the Vedett range, and originally it was a Pilsner. So this would have been the original Pilsner that he brewed. This is making a comeback now. There's a lot of people buying this. It's been sold in a lot of bars, and even in London, I think they've got a base there where the old Truman Brewery was, and I'm sure that's where they're selling it. So, you know, if you want to try this in the UK and you're in the southeast or London area, you can get it there. But you can get this on Beers of Europe. It's quite easy to get hold of over here. I don't know, have I seen this in a supermarket? Something in the back of my mind is telling me that I've seen this in a supermarket. I could be wrong on that though. I'll go over what's in the brew sheet in the description, but final word on this, they've got a little thing going on where you can submit photographs and they'll put them on the back of the bottle, which I think is a great idea. That's brilliant. And I've got some bloke there in Ecuador walking along a road. Yeah, very exciting, mate, but not really for me. All right. Anyway, enough about Ecuador. Let's get on to this beer. Right, this is a 330ml stubby and it's 5.2%. Do you know what? It's got right on the front. It's all been rubbed off, but it says something about subtle bitterness, and it's either pine hoppiness or fine hoppiness. I'm assuming it's fine hoppiness, and that is about it. Yeah, 5.2%, 330ml. As I said, the hops in this are interesting, though. I will say that. And I'll just quickly go over them. There's three types of hops in this beer. You've got SARS hops, okay? Really good hop, one of the noble hops, very earthy. If you've ever drunk Budweiser and you get that earthy taste, that's your SARS hops. Used a lot in Czech Pilsners and renowned for being a great Pilsner hop. Used quite a lot, certainly in the Czech Republic. But in Germany, they quite use them a fair bit as well. The next one is Styrian Goldings. Now, Styrian Goldings are reasonably similar to East Kent Goldings, but of course they're grown in the Styrian region, which is Austria, Slovenia, around that area. And as I've always said, you know, the geology of an area where stuff is grown always makes a difference to the taste. And the taste of these Styrian Goldings is quite subtle, but they've got a fair bit of spice. And the spice that I talk about when I'm, you know, talking about lagers in particular, or pilsners, it's like a black. I get black pepper and a little touch of, I don't know whether it's not coriander, but it's like a green herbal type spice, maybe oregano or something like that, or thyme or something like that. That's what I get from it. But that's your Styrian Goldings. And the last one is the Hallertauer Magnum. Now, of course, Hallertauer is another noble hop, another German noble hop. That's where it gets the name, Hallertauer. And the Magnum, there's three types. So you've got the Hallertauer Magnum, Hallertauer Tradition, and there's another one as well, and I can't remember the name of it because I'm getting old. But the Hallertauer Magnum is floral and again subtle, but depending where you add it during the brewing process, it can be quite fruity as well. So they're quite an interesting range of hops they got in here. And a quick word about the malt, they've just used plain barley malt, which I'm assuming is the base malt, but they've used rice in it as well. And rice is, you know, they do use that a lot in light coloured beers, usually in places where malt isn't particularly, you know, easily grown. So for example, a lot of your South American beers use rice in there. Budweiser uses genetically modified rice, is used in Budweiser. It's generally a cheap ingredient. I don't really like it in beers, to be honest, but it is better than the other stuff, corn syrup they use as well. I mean, when you start using that shit, just forget it. But I could be wrong, so let's get this beer open and see what's going on. Right, Vedett. I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but I'm going to call it Vedett. Put that up there. There's a ye oldie cap lifter. There, car. Wow. Big SARS hop aromas coming from there already. There's the cap. Quite a nice cap. Red and white. I will put that in the collection now. Right, as I said on other videos, I am not sniffing beer out of a bottle. It's going into the glass. I'm going to pour a little bit in there. I'm going to sniff it out of the glass. Because when you sniff it out of the bottle, I'm just finding this, and cans as well, I'm just finding that you're getting a lot of sulphur from the yeast, and it's putting me off, and it's genuinely not an indication of what you're going to be getting. Alright, I know a lot of people do sniff stuff out of cans and bottles when they're reviewing beers, but I'm going to stop doing it because I don't think it's a true indication of what you're going to get. So, let's get it out of the glass. Wow, that does smell distinctly German. I'm getting that lovely light, earthy type aroma with a little touch of spice, as you would expect from all the hops, the type of hops that are in here. Typical Northern European hops. There's actually a little touch of spirit alcohol on that, which is not something I would have expected. But it smells okay. There's no alarm bells at the moment. Now look how light this is. I'll just get it all in the glass. Normally this is just drunk out of a straight half pint glass, but it does look nice. It's very, very light, and it's looking distinctly like a German Pilsner, a Northern German Pilsner. Let's just get the whole lot in there. Right, head retention is good. Medium carbonation. What is that? 1.5 finger white head. Yeah, some subtle floral notes on that now as well. But it smells. I'll get a fucking little bit of beer off my nose. It smells quite interesting. Let's get it down the hatch. Bottoms up. Not bad. I'm getting some lemon citrus on that now. Earthy and lemon citrus. But it's quite nice. This is reminding me of the Koenig Pilsner that I tried recently, which was basically a showcase for German noble hops. It had huge earth and spice and some subtle floral notes in it, and it tasted quite nice. The malt back end is very disappointing, and I know the reason for that, and that's because they've used rice and pale barley malt. I think if they'd have not used the rice and not scrimped on using a decent malt in this could have been an absolute winner. But I'm sort of getting that rice type, not flavour, but you just know that the malts aren't rich in this. I have to say though, it's very light and it's refreshing too. And straight out of the fridge, it's not a bad effort, all things considered. You know, if you was in Belgium and you wanted something a little bit more interesting than Stella or Jupiler, then this would be a pretty good alternative, I reckon. I quite like it. Don't know how expensive it is over there. There's a nice bit of lemon citrus on that finish, but it's not a sweet malty finish. There's big bitterness, dryness and earthiness on that, and I'm assuming that's coming from the Saaz hops. That's what Saaz hops do. But it ain't the worst. It's not the worst I've tried, but it's a pretty good representation of a half decent Pilsner. So what's the verdict on Vedett? Well, I didn't know what to expect from this. The hops that were in here looked really promising, and then I found out there was rice in it, and my heart sank a little bit, because I just think when you're going to use rice in a beer, it says a lot about you. One, it says you're cheap, and two, it says you're not going to get a really nice malty finish. And I can understand why Budweiser do it. I mean, fuck Budweiser. They don't give a fuck about anyone except themselves and their profit. They don't give a shit about flavour, etc. And the Far Eastern companies that do it, well, yeah, you sort of understand why. Rice grows so abundantly over there that they're going to have trouble filling grain bills with just malt on their own. So they add rice to it, which is, you know, it's fair enough. I can understand it, but I know if it's in there, then I know that's fine. That's what they do. But for a Belgian brewer to do that, I think that is a bit of a cheat. So I'm going to knock marks off for that. But they got it right. And the annoying thing is, they got it right with the hops. And this doesn't taste bad, but it could have been fucking brilliant, which is really, really frustrating. But that's just my take on it. So I'm going to give them a 7 out of 10. And as I say, I'm knocking marks off for the use of rice, because it's not as if this is a cheap beer. They've put some they've chosen some really good hops to put in here, and then just let themselves down with the malts. So yeah, but it, you know, that aside, it's quite a nice beer. It's refreshing, nice and cold. You know, on a summer's day, this would be perfect. But yeah, I think they just let themselves down. But 7 out of 10. I'd recommend it if there was nothing else. But there's, you know, if there's better German beers out there, go for that. But I do like the chance to get Get your photo on the back. I might send one of me wearing stockings and suspenders and a pair of sparkly hot pants. What are the chances of that getting on there? Between fuck all and none. Anyway, more on that later. And remember, beer is working class champagne.